Well, a lot of people are having spontaneous Kundalini awakenings. And what is that? Kundalini, first of all, it's the light of the soul. It's it's subatomic energy. It's the creative force, also known as the Shakti force, and it's in the base of the spine of every human being, and it lies there dormant until it's activated. Now, sometimes it'll activate on its own spontaneously, and that's the experience that people have. Now, when that force spontaneously just goes up the spine into the brain, uh, unregulated, it can cause all kinds of different psychoactive effects. People sometimes have visions, they see different things, other beings, and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just like lightheadedness and maybe vertigo or there's different symptoms. People seeing lots of different colors. One student described it to me as this energy that shot up her spine, and then all of a sudden everything broke out into these like massive colors, almost kind of like an acid trip or something like that. So that you can imagine that if that just spontaneously happens to you, it can be really scary. So it's good to understand what's going on, first of all, and then I'll give you some tips and tricks. I'll explain to you what Kundalini Yoga is, how that can help you. And also there's some like tips and tricks of stuff that you can do if you've had this experience. There's mantras you can chant, and then there's, you can regulate the breath a little bit, but most importantly, there's certain things that you can do. But so let's stay on this Kundalini thing for a second. What is that? Okay. So Kundalini it's kind of a funny word, right? And it comes from the word kundal, which means coil. And so and you'll see it in some poetic terms where they'll say, from the East, they'll say it's a coil of the beloved. Well, it's a coil because that Kundalini energy is like a spring. It's a super powerful potential energy at the base of the spine. Like I said, it's atomic energy because it's also known as the Shakti force. And Shakti is a word for feminine creative power. Because if you actually explore it, everything in the universe that's created comes from the feminine. So, but we won't get into that. It's just a feminine creative power, just like that's why we call it Mother Earth. Uh, Everything that's created is got this kind of feminine aspect to it, right? Because everything's sort of born in some way, given birth to. So that Shakti power, Kundalini power, it's subatomic energy. Now you think about everything that's created, everything in the world, it's got protons, electrons. It's atomic. It has a atomic structure somehow. Things made up of carbon, made up of this, oxygen, and that. It's all atomic energy. So if you can imagine you're a creative being, and that Kundalini is the light of the soul, and the soul is creative and creating through you. You're creating your reality as a human on the earth, and that is powerful atomic energy. So the Kundalini is very powerful, creative atomic energy. And so when that spontaneously erupts or moves through the system, it can jar things and it can give you all kinds of interesting, energetic, mental experiences. So some people have told me that the experiences they're shaking and there's from the energy, or that they're seeing colors or seeing different things, and everybody's experience is different. But the one thing that it's in common is that it's a little jarring. So let's cover the first part, which is that the shaking. Like when if you're feeling or if you're having the experience of Kundalini coming up and then you're shaking, what's going on there is that, you imagine it's like a wiring system in your house, right? You've got this wiring and it's just kind of just normal house wiring. And then all of this electricity, like an industrial amount of electricity, starts coming through the wiring. Well, it can kind of blow things out, and that's not exactly what's happening, because your body can handle it. And there's a saying, you'll never be given more than you can handle, right? So if it's happening, generally they say for a reason, but there's an advantage to everything that happens to you. So if it's happening, don't be freaked out. Just know that what's happening is that the energy is so powerful and it's coming through your wiring, and your wiring hasn't been upgraded yet. So it's causing this kind of shaking, right? And so then also that super powerful energy can go up into the brain and stimulate the glands and stimulate the pineal gland and then it can cause you to kind of shift your frequency really quickly, or shift your perception very quickly, and then you start seeing maybe other colors, other worlds, things like that. So it's all perfectly fine. The most important thing is to not get freaked out and just to understand what's going on. Very simply put, it's a tremendous amount of energy going through the system all at once, unexpected, and it's the creative, infinite power of the human being, which is infinitely creative. So you can create all kinds of different experiences, even like a drug trip, really. So that's what's going on there. Now, what can you do if you're having these experiences? That's the most important thing that people want to know. Well, one of the first things you can do is get water on the body. You can take a shower or get into a bath, preferably with like Epsom salts, baking soda, things like that, and that will calm down the nerves and the nervous system. Kundalini is also known as a tantric force, and that tantric force, which is a diagonal energy, and that's how your projection actually transmits prayers through the matrix and so forth. It's just that you using that creative energy through the tantric force. So it's, as a tantric force, it's balanced out with the use of water. So you want to get in some water, but you want to definitely make sure that you're safe. So you don't want to, if you're having these psychoactive experiences and it's unsettling to where you're like unstable, you definitely don't want to just get into water alone. So be super careful there. Have somebody help you, or take a shower, or just use a cloth and wipe the body down with water. But water will neutralize that energy. Okay. And then the other thing is the feet and the hands. The feet and the hands have 72,000 nerve endings. So there's 72,000 nerves that end up in the hands and the feet as nerve endings. And so the feet especially, because the feet is where the energy goes out. There's a pranic force, prana, which is that life force energy. That's the positive, active, creative force. And then there's the apana, which is the opposite of that. It's the eliminative force. So you have stuff is created, then you have stuff that's garbage that's got to go out, and that's the aponic force. And so that goes out through the feet. So if you're having a spontaneous experience where there's tremendous amount of energy running through the body, it's helpful to have somebody massage your feet. And if there's nobody around, they have those, things you can roll your feet on, or you can walk out on like a hard surface. And then equally as important is grounding. So you want to get out and ground the body on the earth. So put your feet flat on the earth, on some grass, or walk on the beach, on sand. But grounding is very important if you're having spontaneous Kundalini experiences, is that your energy field will get grounded into the earth's energy field, and that conscious intelligence will balance things out. So that's another important thing. So there's bathing, get in water, and then like have somebody massage your feet or massage the feet. You can also walk on, a little harder surfaces and maybe a little rocky if you, be careful with your feet, but walking on gravel or something like that might give you like a little massage. And then of course there's all, if you have a good acupuncturist, that's really powerful to go to an acupuncturist, because they can put the needles in, you explain to them what's going on, that you have this rush of energy, and they can balance out the energy system like that. And they can also probably prescribe herbs and things like that if you can find a good acupuncturist. But the most important thing I would say for somebody who's having a spontaneous Kundalini experience is to do Kundalini Yoga. And of course you're like, well, sure, Jagopal, you do Kundalini Yoga, so you're pushing it. If all you got's a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's true. Yeah, I am definitely a convert, and I definitely a fan of Kundalini Yoga because of the many years that I've been doing it and teaching it, and my experience of it with myself and students is that it really, really works powerfully and fast to activate and utilize and move that Kundalini Yoga around the system, to balance things out, to clear the mind, create deep relaxation, and improve the flow, the creative flow of the human being in many ways, but mostly through clearing the mind, the subconscious mind, and relaxation, that over time, stimulating the glandular system on a regular basis, it tunes up the body, it de-ages the body, and it improves the entire energy system of the human, and will expand your energy field. What results is your brain and your whole system digestive system, circulatory system, all those things expanded and moving at a higher frequency and also much more efficiently. So it improves everything about the human being because it's the science and technology of the human, right? And now break down the word human for a second. Hue is implies light, color, right? Hue, and then mind, right? So human, the light of the soul projected through the mind, and being is now. So a human being is that light of the soul projecting through the mind, creating a reality that you're experiencing in the now, right? So it's the light of the soul. It's a human being. Therefore, Kundalini Yoga is the technology of the human being. It helps you. It's the technology of that Kundalini infinite energy. So I say, if you're having an experience, a spontaneous Kundalini experience, find a good Kundalini Yoga teacher and start practicing Kundalini Yoga, because Kundalini Yoga is designed to activate that Kundalini energy consciously and judiciously, if you will, consciously and carefully open that Kundalini energy at the base of the spine using mantra. And then, which is sound current, sound energy, and then breath, conscious breath, regulating the breath, that also activates and moves the Kundalini energy. And then we use Kriya, which is angular postures, a series of movements, hand postures, angular postures, which then take that Kundalini and move it through the system, through the 10 bodies, through the mind, through the 8 chakras, and so on. And it's all done in a very regulated manner. And then at the end is deep relaxation, and usually with a gong or sound current, sound bath, people call it now. And then, you tune out with a mantra. In between, there could be chanting, meditation, all contained in the structure of a Kundalini Yoga class. So what you have is a very powerful, regulated experience of opening the faucet of that Kundalini, distributing it through the house, the system, the temple, and then closing it down after relaxation. And then which that happens is over time, it's a cumulative effect on the mind-body energy system, which will increase your auric field and increase the frequency of your auric field so that you can handle more energy. So just to cap it up, if you're having a spontaneous Kundalini experience, it's perfectly fine. It might seem really weird and even scary, but there's ways to deal with it. Get into some water, make sure you have some help and somebody to watch you, because it's no joke. It's atomic energy. It's very powerful. And then grounding on the earth, put your feet on the earth, walk on the earth. And then you want to stimulate the hands and the feet. There's 72,000 nerve endings in there. You can also stimulate the navel. So you can have somebody massage your navel, massage your stomach, very gently, and massage the whole body for that matter. But the hands, the feet, particularly the feet, you want to massage those meridian points, the 72,000 nerve endings in the feet, which will allow that Kundalini energy to balance in the nervous system and flow. But most importantly, you want to do Kundalini Yoga on a regular basis, because that will help you to regulate and strengthen the nervous system. And when you regulate and strengthen the nervous system through regular exposure to the Kundalini, you basically rewire the whole system. And in rewiring that whole system, you can handle that blast of Kundalini energy. So finally, just consider it. If you've had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, then you're supposed to work with that super powerful, infinite Kundalini energy. Consider it as a compliment. Consider that this isn't some curse or something that happened that's wrong with your body. If it happened, it's your soul essentially telling you, hey, you're supposed to work with this. You're supposed to upgrade your whole mind-body energy system so that you can handle higher frequencies and perceive higher dimensions, and then you can work with that. Whether you end up teaching other people, which you can be helpful, since you've had that experience, that's a really good idea. But whatever your destiny is, it's calling on you when the spontaneous Kundalini rises like that. It's telling you that there's more out there for you to experience. You just have to learn to work with it. So it's a very positive wake-up call. I hope that's helped you. That's all about spontaneous Kundalini awakening, what Kundalini is, how to work with it, and some remedies um, for regulating a spontaneous Kundalini experience. Satnam.